Hey guys! Today I am doing a video about layering. I have gotten so many requests for this video and I've honestly worked really hard to try to explain in a really easy, approachable way exactly how I layer my fragrances. Layering is a way that I, as a collector, make sure that I use all of my fragrances, even if some of those scents are not ones that I am head over heels for. And when I first started collecting fragrances, layering really it didn't seem easy to me. It seemed like it was something I had to pay special attention to, and there was this very specific way to do it. And I've realized over the years that there are tons of ways to layer fragrances, and so I'm going to explain the way I layer. I think the easiest way to start layering is by using scents that have a single dominant note. So I have Erin's Tangier Vanille and Demeter's Pistachio Ice Cream. These fragrances are not single note fragrances, and you can buy single note fragrances that are meant for layering, but I'm trying to show you how to use what you have. So these two fragrances have very dominant notes. And to most, or to me, they smell very specifically like that one note, vanilla in the Erin and pistachio in the Demeter. Neither of these last a long time, so I think they lend themselves very well to layering. One of my favorite aspects of layering is how it increases the longevity in both fragrances. So single note fragrances, or single note dominant fragrances, I think are the easiest ways to layer. Let's take Erin Tangier Vanille. If you had a fragrance that you loved that maybe had vanilla, or maybe it doesn't have vanilla and you think vanilla would be a good addition, and in most cases I think it is, a vanilla dominant fragrance is a super easy way to layer. You can add this to like La Vie Belle, to make it a little bit more vanillic and a little bit softer. Or you could add it to a fragrance that was super masculine if you wanted to make it lean a little more feminine. And with the pistachio ice cream, like, this is kind of a weird note. Vanilla, I think, is a little bit of a cop-out because it's so easy and it is rampant in fragrances. Pistachio, not so much. This would be good for fragrances that had pistachio notes that maybe didn't last a long time, or if you love pistachio like I do and you want to add it to a fragrance that you think should have pistachio in it. Those are some great ways to layer. And of course, you can just layer these two together. The more simple a fragrance, I think the easier it is to layer because there won't be a ton of competition, and I'll kind of get into that in a couple minutes. But single note fragrances or single note dominant fragrances, you only have to worry about that one note working with the rest of the composition in the secondary fragrance that you're using. So the second way that I like to layer is fragrances that have similar notes but different vibes. And I'll give you a couple examples so you understand what I mean, and then I'll kind of elaborate a little bit more. One of my favorite layering combos is Hypnotic Poison, which is a fall, spicy vanilla almond scent, and Jasmine Marzipan, which in my opinion is more of a springtime fragrance, which also has almond in it. These two fragrances don't smell like the same fragrance at all. They have a similar note of almond, and layered, they smell incredible. One of the tips I will give you is to smell the atomizers at the same time. If you can smell one over the other, it'll probably be that way when you put it on your body, unless you really layer on top the lighter one. But if you're not horrified, it's not foolproof. If you're not horrified by the smell of them combining, they'll probably layer pretty well. I think Jasmine Marzipan is a little bit lighter, a little bit softer, and definitely not spicy, whereas Hypnotic Poison is definitely fall, dark spice. But the almond, they just really blend well because of the almond. And I'll go into how I layer on my body in a couple minutes as well, but I want to show you the other layering combo that I use. So the second layering combo that I love is Parfait de Roses from Lancome and Delina from Parfum de Marly. Delina, you may know, is a very fresh, tart rhubarb rose. It is very fresh, very springtime. And Parfait de Roses is a syrupy, sweet, powdery rose. These two fragrances are very different, but the rose makes them perfect for layering together. Sometimes I am not in the mood for sharp Delina, and sometimes Parfait de Roses is too syrupy for me. So combining them, I get a nice in-between that feels a little more appropriate for any season. And I mean, they're both really good scents, so it doesn't really surprise me that they smell so great together. So the third type of layering that I like to use is different notes and different vibes. This I would call the advanced type of layering. And honestly, I'm not amazing at figuring out what scents are gonna work together without actually trying them. I sample all of my layering before I actually wear it out. But I'll get to that in a couple minutes. I feel like that's all I've said this whole video. So one of my absolute favorite combinations is Girl of Now, which is my favorite fragrance, and Caramel Ross, which is also my favorite fragrance. These two combined is incredible. I get compliments like crazy when I wear these together. And these two are heavy. They're not similar fragrances by smell, but they're definitely thick, heavy, powerhouse fragrances. So one doesn't outshine the other, and they work really well because there's an equal competition between them. This next example is a little more extreme in terms of the differences. L'Imperatrice from Dolce & Gabbana and Limone e Vaniglia, also from Fragranza. These are very different fragrances. L'Imperatrice is fresh, zingy, zesty, tart, also rhubarb. And Limone et Vaniglia is lemon and vanilla. It's very soft. It's still powerful, but it isn't heavy. It's like a light lemon bar or like a lemon cake or a cookie. And I got the idea because I love L'Imperatrice, but sometimes I want a little extra sweetness, and I don't just want plain boring vanilla. And the lemon in this complements the rhubarb so nicely. And I feel like the combination of these two, they kind of even each other out. L'Imperatrice gets a little more mellow, and Limone et Vaniglia gets a little bit zestier. So I want to give you guys a couple tips on layering and just feeling a little more confident with layering. So I always test my layers before I wear them for the day, and the way I do that is by testing them right before my shower. If a fragrance layering combination sucks, I just wash it off. And if it smells great, I just put it back on when I'm done showering. You can also test at bedtime. That's something else that I've done with fragrances that I know I love and that I feel fairly confident will work. But that's one where if it's really awful, it might keep you up. So fair warning. So I already mentioned smelling the atomizers together, and I do that every single time before I even spray, because sometimes you will get an obvious, oh, this is not going to work. And sometimes you'll be like, oh my God, I can't wait to put this on. When you are layering fragrances, my suggestion is always to use fewer sprays of each fragrance. I am an oversprayer. That is my nature. But when I'm layering, it's important to remind myself that I cannot go absolutely trigger happy the first time. I have to wait because there is a second fragrance waiting to be sprayed. And the other suggestion I have, sort of along the same lines, is I spray the heavier fragrance first, This one is one you can experiment with, and it actually, even in my testing before my shower, sometimes I'll do fragrance A and then B, and then on the other arm I'll do B and then A just to see if it makes a difference. I can't off the top of my head think of any like fragrances that have smelled different, but definitely if you have a lighter fragrance or a fruitier fragrance, anything that's not really long lasting, I do not spray that one first, because I find that the other fragrance, the longer lasting or the heavier fragrance, will it'll just cover it up. Now when it comes to where I spray, it's really just how I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I will spray them on the exact same spot, and sometimes I will do like one on my wrists and one on my neck. I really can't think of any rhyme or reason that I have for doing that. I think if I had fragrances that are very similar, it would mean less to put them on different places of my body. But if you really want to layer fragrances that smell wildly different, I think they should be closer to each other on your body. My last suggestion might be, I don't know, this one might be, I'm interested to know the feedback on this because I do this and I'm a little worried that people are gonna think it's like a huge no-no. I almost didn't put this in here, but I do this, so I just figured I would admit it. When I have a combination that I know I love, I actually combine the scents into a travel atomizer so that when I am out, I can respray both of them. I'm sorry if you are horrified right now, but it's the truth. That is what I do. I shouldn't say I do it like a ton, but I definitely do it with some favorites. So Girl of Now and Caramel Ross, I definitely do that. I actually do it with a lot of my Girl of Now combinations now that I think about it, because I did it with C, and that is also a really great combination if anyone is wondering. And I think I even did it with Girl of Now and Flower Bomb. If you are brave or maybe a little careless like I am, having a travel atomizer with both fragrances might be up your alley. So that is it for my tips for layering fragrances. I would love to hear in the comments how you layer fragrances, how you test them, how you wear them, and I really want to know your favorite layering combinations. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.